and it's just Mom and me this year. She always says if you see something bad, you should try to change it. So that's what I did. I think I was right about Ramadan being about the big things. But sometimes the small things are the big things.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for our third Ramadan Gala for Heal Humanity for Penny Peel USA. My name is Yasmin Elhady. I am a lawyer, a comedian, a relationship consultant, and also happen to be a motivational speaker today to talk on behalf of Penny Peel USA. To get us started, we are going to start with the beautiful recitation of the Qur'an in celebration of this month, which is the month of the Qur'an. We have a very celebrated nasheed artist, Quranic reciter. He's a poet, Faisal Latif, joining us from Florida to give us the beginning of hopefully a blessed night by reciting from Surah Al-Insan in the Qur'an. Please join me in welcoming Faisal Latif.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How you doing?
How are you? Ramadan Kareem, Faisal.
Ramadan Mubarak. How's yours going?
You know, good. It's tough, man. I'm in quarantine with 2 young children.
So, I don't know anything about that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. May Allah give you so much knowledge and wisdom as you grow older.
I mean.
And give you ease. Well, we're really excited to hear from you in the Qur'an.
Bismillah.
Inshallah.
Bismillah. So I'm going to be reciting, inshallah, from Surah Al-Insan, which is in the 29th juz. And inshallah, you can read the translation to the side of your screen or somewhere on your screen. Here we go. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا إنا أعتدنا للكافرين سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا قمطريرا فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا ودانية عليهم ظلالها وذللت قطوفها تذليلا ويطاف عليهم بآنية من فضة وأكواب كانت قوارير من فضة قدروها تقديرا ويسقون فيها كأسا كان مزاجها زنجبيلا عينا فيها تسمى سلسبيلا ويطوف عليهم ولدان مخلدون إذا رأيتهم حسبتهم لؤلؤا منثورا وإذا رأيت ثم رأيت نعيما وملكا كبيرا عاليهم ثياب سندس خضر واستبرق وحلوا أساور من فضة وسقاهم ربهم شرابا طهورا إن هذا كان لكم جزاء وكان سعيكم مشكورا إنا نحن نزلنا عليك القرآن تنزيلا فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تطع منهم آثما أو كفورا واذكر اسم ربك بكرة وأصيلا ومن الليل فاسجد له وسبحه ليلا طويلا إن هؤلاء يحبون العاجلة ويذرون وراءهم يوما ثقيلا نحن خلقناهم وشددنا أسرهم وإذا شئنا بدلنا أمثالهم تبديلا إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله إن الله كان عليما حكيما يدخل من يشاء في رحمته والظالمين أعد لهم عذابا أليما. صدق الله العظيم.
Sadaqallah. MashaAllah. Thank you so much. Beautiful words. And we will hear from you again, inshallah, later on in the program, Faisal, where you will be doing some nasheed and hopefully some spoken word as well.
Yes, ma'am. Inshallah.
We're really excited. Okay, assalamu alaikum for now.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, everyone. So why are we here today? We're here for a beautiful and important cause of medical attention to create capacity in hospitals in Burundi, Somalia, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. And that is what the Heal Humanity donation little button here at the bottom is all about. You'll see a green button that says donate today, pausa.org/heal. For those of us who are on Facebook or streaming this elsewhere, you can just go to pausa.org/heal to donate. And we will be talking later on in the program where exactly the most need is in these hospitals. Pennypeel USA really is an organization that thinks about how to break the cycle of poverty, how to create sustainable solutions so that the next generation doesn't have to deal with cyclical disadvantages. And it's an organization that is dedicated to doing this by empowering those that we serve. So Pennypeel USA is also doing a lot of COVID-19 relief, and specifically in the United States for PPE, as well as other hospitals like in Syria and Palestine, Mozambique, and in Bangladesh. And we will be giving you different ways that you can help alleviate some of the suffering that's going on. I want to also just point out that one of the hospitals that we will be supporting today through your donations and through your generosity is in Palestine, and it's the only neonatal unit that operates in Palestine. It's the Maqasid Hospital. So I want to turn it over to someone who knows Pennypeel USA much better than I do. I am one of the founding board members, and I used to be the chair of the organization, but I stepped down, but still feel very passionately about this organization. But this man still is at the helm, and really the only reason I stuck around for as long as I did. Please join me in welcoming the CEO of Pennypeel USA, Usama Mezwi, who will talk to you a lot more about what the organization is doing this Ramadan to help really heal humanity and what you can do to assist.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Yasmin?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How's your week?
It's been okay. It's been hectic.
Hanging in there with the boys?
Yeah, the boys are doing well. They just keep me busy, man. They keep me busy, and I work full time as an attorney, so and I still have to go into the office, so that has been challenging.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, you're not remote. Okay.
No, I'm considered essential, so I go in and I'm like strapped into like an N95 mask. I've got the gloves, the whole thing.
So you get some free time away from the boys. That's a positive.
Yeah, exactly. I have a lot of breathing room in my mask away from the boys.
Alhamdulillah, good.
We're really excited to hear from you today, Usama.
Thank you, Yasmin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Good evening. I hope you are well, inshallah. For those who maybe don't know, Yasmin, like she said, is one of our founding board members. She served as our board chair for 3 years. And recently stepping down to focus on her growing family and her career. So we thank you, Yasmin, for hosting this evening, and thank you for all your work. SubhanAllah, here we are. I said this in our gala last week, and we're in the middle of Ramadan, and Ramadan is a great opportunity for many of us at Pennypeel to see our supporter base, to meet you, our donors, during these iftars. There's nothing more that I really enjoy every year than catching up annually with friends in North Carolina, in Illinois, in California, in Florida, Virginia, Maryland, etc. And of course, this Ramadan, we are here at home. So if you're tuning in, and we usually meet regularly during the annual iftars, I hope, inshallah, that we'll be able to meet again soon. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with our journey. For those of you who perhaps are new to Pennypeel USA, we are a 501c3 relief and development agency. Our mission, our vision really is poverty eradication. We work to create the best societies we can and to bring about positive change through the eradication of inequality, through the eradication of poverty. We are proudly part of a large global organization that has member offices in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, in South Africa, with field offices in Pakistan, the Gambia, Jerusalem, Bangladesh, to name but a few of the field offices that we have. So Penny Pill USA, alhamdulillah, was launched in July of 2016. We are rapidly approaching our 4th year anniversary here in the United States. And alhamdulillah, because of you, because of the generous support of donors coast to coast, we've had a really phenomenal growth trajectory these last 4 years. And thank you from me, from the whole team at Penny Pill USA, for those of you who've been to our events, those of you who've donated, those of you who've sent words of encouragement. Thank you so much. We are a relief and development agency that tackles poverty, and we do that through a number of ways. We have 7 or 8 main programs that holistically try to tackle the different facets of poverty. Today, we're here to discuss Heal Humanity, which is the name of our program that essentially aims to provide healthcare access to people, families, communities most in need. So we'll be focusing on Heal Humanity this evening. However, we do have a range of other programs. We support orphans in over 9 countries. We help educate children, the next generation, in over 7 countries. We're providing access to clean drinking water, again, in over 7 countries. When disasters strike, when emergencies happen, we are there responding as quickly as we can, often within days. Recently, we were in the Bahamas, in Indonesia. Of course, we have long-standing programs in Yemen, in Syria, working on those humanitarian catastrophes. And of course, we respond here at home as well. Most recently, with COVID-19 and this pandemic, we've been really on the front lines throughout the United States, but also in 6 other countries, providing people with cash assistance, helping them so that they can pay their rent, pay their utility bills, get their medication, pay for essential transportation, providing PPE, protective equipment to families, but also most importantly to healthcare workers. In the United States this week, we came together with IR USA and Imana and distributed 50,000 KN95 masks to hospitals in some of the biggest urban areas worstly impacted by COVID-19. We're also providing in Syria and Syrian camps, also in Syrian hospitals in Aleppo, northern Syria, testing equipment to make sure that we help limit the spread of the disease. We're doing the same in Mozambique, in Uganda. In Palestine, we're working in Gaza, again, providing PPE equipment, providing testing equipment. And throughout these countries, also doing healthcare, preventative educational classes to encourage individuals to maintain hygiene practices and limit the spread of the disease. So this evening, we're here really for one cause, one reason, which is to raise awareness and to raise funds for our range of Heal Humanity programs. As Yasmin said, in Palestine, we are helping to expand the only neonatal unit available to Palestinians, which is the Al Maqasid Hospital. In Syria, we're working in the camps in providing individuals, families, communities with access to essential goods, essential supplies, but also PPE equipment, as well as, again, educating them on hygiene practices. I just wanted to make a small point, an important point really, is that lack of access to healthcare was and is a fundamental obstacle to bringing entire communities and nations out of poverty. Even before COVID-19, if you look at the 17 what we call SDGs, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that were agreed by the world community at the UN. And these SDGs, their priority is essentially threefold. How do you bring people out of poverty? How do you essentially protect the planet? But also, how do you ensure that everybody, regardless of where they are, regardless of who they are, has a right to prosperity and a life of fulfillment? So even before COVID-19, one of the SDGs was about wellness. It was about ensuring good health and wellness for all of the world's peoples. And a cornerstone of that step 3 or goal 3 of the SDG is universal health coverage. How do we ensure that by the year 2030, every single human being, regardless of where they live, regardless of their financial ability to pay, should have access to basic healthcare services and basic healthcare institutions? The reality is that we're far, far, far from reaching that goal. And so what we aim to do at Penny Appeal through our range of Heal Humanity programs is provide families and communities with access to healthcare. In Bangladesh, we've been there for a few years now, working with the Rohingya refugees, providing them with access to healthcare facilities. We have seen tens of thousands of individuals in the camps that have come through our primary healthcare clinics. In Sudan, we've been supplying essential medical supplies and medication to hospitals in need. We've been doing the same in Pakistan, where we've been distributing, again, protective equipment. The other thing that's really important to mention is that lack of access to healthcare, of course, is there are multiple reasons or multifactorial. Why do we have a lack of access to healthcare in the world? One of those reasons, of course, is corruption. There's no doubt that corruption plays a big part in the lack of access, the lack of infrastructure. But the lack of resources is also a factor. And we all have a role to play. While there's no doubt that governments should, and the responsibility, the lion's share of that responsibility lies on governments, we as Penny Appeal, as institutions, but also we as individuals, have a responsibility to do as much as we can to help people get access to healthcare services, regardless of where they are. Now, just think, if you live in a rural part of Asia or a rural part of sub-Saharan Africa, any developing nation, there's a chance that providing or having access to healthcare is going to be a challenge. Now, just think, if you're not in a settled community, what does it look like? What does healthcare look like if you are a refugee, if you are an internally displaced people? When we talk about preventing the disease, how do you do that in a situation where there is no access to running water? There is no access to clean water. How do we talk about fighting poverty and achieving the Sustainable Development Goals if actually right now millions of people all over the world are losing their income, losing their jobs? Think about the importance of tourism in some of these developing nations. Tourism has been decimated now. Think about people in the service industries, people who rely on these jobs to feed their families. So before COVID-19, we were the number we had was around 800 or 815 million people every day being food insecure, not having enough food, enough nutrition to eat. Think about the impact of COVID-19, the economic impact of COVID-19, and how it's going to make the fight a lot harder, the fight against poverty. And just, I was looking before at some of the statistics around readiness, right? I mean, thank God, many parts of Africa have been spared some of the worst consequences, health consequences of COVID-19. We've seen that the spread has not been as bad in sub-Saharan Africa, for example, as it's been in other nations. But do you know, for example, in South Sudan, a population of over 11 million people, they have more vice presidents than they have ventilators. Think about that. South Sudan has five vice presidents. They have 4 ventilators. So God forbid something was to happen and the pandemic was to spread in South Sudan, how would they respond? A country that I've been to personally and I'm very close to my heart is the Central African Republic, one of the poorest nations in the world. Population of over 5 million people. The entire country of the Central African Republic has 3 ventilators. There are over 10 countries in Africa that have zero ventilators. One of those nations is Somalia, a country that we work in. And so Heal Humanity tonight is about encouraging you to support us in our efforts to provide individuals with access to essential healthcare. Like Yasmin said, you can visit our website to find out more. You can go to pausa.org/heal. That's HEAL. pausa.org/heal. There is, of course, a donate button that you can click onto as well, here just underneath our screen. And then finally, for those of you who perhaps prefer to use the telephone, you can call 202-851-2112. That's 202-851-2112. And the last thing I'll say, Yasmin, is of course, the Heal Humanity programs are Zakat eligible. And so we encourage our viewers tonight, we encourage anybody watching this webinar on Facebook, on Crowdcast, perhaps on YouTube, to please consider giving a portion of your Zakat this evening to the Heal Humanity program. Thank you so much.
Important to know. Thank you so much, Usama. How incredible, I mean, all the things that Prematurely USA is doing. And I thank you for your time and for your leadership and your vision to help lead the organization forward, alhamdulillah, and keep us honest and keep us transparent and really serving people by empowering them.
Ameen. Inshallah, we'll do our best. Thank you for your support.
Absolutely. So, I want to just, we're going to move on in the program, and I want to remind people that the types of programs that Usama is talking about and the different price points, I just want you guys to know, it doesn't matter how much you give, even if it's something small and consistent. We know that by the Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, that is something that is most cherished. Something that we can do small, even in small amounts, but it's consistent, is better. And if you donate and you hit, you put in this amount here to contribute in the box, and if you donate at the bottom with pausa.org/heal, you'll have the option to have a recurring donation every month, even if it's something small. Your $5, your $10, your $20 might not seem like a big deal to you, but it's actually life-saving. And just to reiterate kind of what Usama was saying, that this work that Prematurely USA is doing is not just overseas, but it's also here on the ground at home, in conjunction with IMANA, the Islamic Medical Association in North America, as well as Islamic Relief. Prematurely USA has been participating in the distribution of over 500,000 PPE protection to hospitals that are hit in the most vulnerable of areas in New Orleans and Chicago and New York City, where people really need it most. And for all of the other programs that we're running, the hospital programs that we're running overseas, just remember that we are creating capacity for them so that they can actually heal and treat their own people, and that they can feel like they can have full dignity and full protection against all of the difficulties that COVID-19 has been unleashing. But also just in general, there was such a lack of capacity. He talked about the Rohingya population of refugees in Bangladesh. He spoke about the situation in Palestine, a very difficult situation in Burundi or Somalia, where people have to travel usually long distances to get to medical attention. So we really appreciate your time here. I'm not going to try to waste any time, you guys. I'm going to try to keep the entire program moving, because I want to eat my iftar just like you do. Don't worry. We are not going to be in between you and your delicious foods. Our next guest is Arsalan Iftikhar, an important brand ambassador for Prematurely USA. He's the Muslim guy. You can find him as a CNN contributor. He's a writer, he's an editor, he's a thinker, he's a lawyer, and he's someone who is an incredible thinker and author, and we're really excited to have him speak with us today. So if you can join me in welcoming Arsalan Iftikhar.
Assalamu alaikum, Yasmin. How are you?
Good. Alaikum assalam. How are you?
Good, alhamdulillah. I want to first thank Penny Appeal for sponsoring this virtual iftar and for all the wonderful work that they've done over the years. I've actually been a brand ambassador for Penny Appeal USA since its inception. I remember Osama
One crew.
when he first came from the United Kingdom, and one of the first things that really appealed to me, in terms of the work that Penny Appeal USA was trying to do, was that it was cutting edge. We obviously have no shortage of Muslim relief organizations and NGOs doing good work around the world. But something that I noticed about Penny Appeal, mainly from their work, based in the UK, and from meeting with Osama and the founders, was that they had a different vision for Penny Appeal USA that would allow the younger generations to get involved, right? The millennials and the Generation Xers who, might not have felt as included in our legacy organizations. And so I became a brand ambassador for Penny Appeal USA. And part of my work as a brand ambassador, in addition to publicizing the campaigns and the work that Penny Appeal is doing around the world, is embracing a pet project. And so my pet project is one of Penny Appeal USA's orphan kind villages. For those of you who don't know, Penny Appeal, as Osama mentioned, has orphan programs in 8 or 9 countries. They have 2 major orphan kind village projects, one in the Gambia in West Africa, and one in Pakistan, a little outside of Islamabad. And so for the last couple of years, every single year, I've been traveling to Pakistan, to the orphan kind village in Sohawa, Pakistan, which is about halfway between the capital of Islamabad and Lahore in the Punjab province. And basically, we are trying to raise funds for a multi-million-dollar, multi-year project for a real village for orphan children. This is a massive, massive piece of land where they are building 12 dormitory houses for young boys and girls. Each one of these orphan homes will house 12 young orphan boys and girls, each with 2 full-time foster mothers. I've been inside the construction of these homes. They're beautiful, massive, and brand new, up-to-date homes. They have granite countertops. They have stainless steel appliances, things that I don't even have in my townhouse here in Virginia. Again, to let our donors know that we're not only providing for these orphans, but we're providing the best life possible. And so building 12 of these houses, each one of these orphan kind villages are going to have entire high schools, both for boys and girls. This year, my campaign is to raise $100,000 for an orphan girls' school in the orphan kind village, which will educate close to 500 young girls, not only from within the village, but from the surrounding areas as well. One of the great things about these orphan kind villages is that Penny Appeal takes a very holistic approach, to these sorts of things. And so when they build these, large state-of-the-art schools, it's not only for the orphan boys and girls who are within these villages, but also to provide free or heavily subsidized education to young boys and girls in the surrounding villages. So again, that allows both the boys and girls from the orphan kind village to become a part of the holistic community at large, so that the orphanage is not seen as some sort of outsider entity. These orphan kind villages will obviously have their own masajid. They will have sports, athletic fields. The one in Pakistan is actually going to have a warehouse for relief supplies. So even when there are earthquakes or natural disasters all across Pakistan, they can actually store relief supplies within these warehouses so that they can be transported to areas that are hit by them, in a more efficient and timely manner. And so again, these villages are meant to be sort of self-sustaining environments and cities of their own. And alhamdulillah, we've raised in the last couple of years, we've raised close to over $250,000 for this multi-million dollar project. I go every single year with a filmmaker to film the updates that are happening there. I was actually supposed to go to Pakistan, literally had to cancel the trip about 2 days before the COVID-19 crisis hit. I was on the phone with Osama, texting back and forth. We were debating whether or not I should cancel my flight or not. That's how close we were to going. Had we gone, I would have been stuck in Pakistan right now. So obviously, hindsight being 2020, was probably the wisest decision not to go. But I still did my campaign for this year. Alhamdulillah, we've already raised over $40,000 out of our $100,000 goal. If you're interested in giving your Zakat eligible tax deductible donation, you can visit the website at myorphanvillage.com. That'll take you to our Launch Good campaign for the Penny Appeal USA Orphan Kind Village. And it's been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. I have spent a good portion of my life in the public arena, and one of the best experiences has been meeting these orphans. Again, going there every single year for the last 3 years, I've gotten to know them personally. I've seen them grow. I even sponsor one of them. My wife and I sponsor one of them, and we are going to inshallah sponsor her until she graduates from high school. So this is a personal thing for me. I might be a brand ambassador for Penny Appeal, but Penny Appeal USA is a part of my family. My parents in Chicago have met Osama, and my mother raises money for Penny Appeal USA. So again, it's a family matter for the Iftikhar family, and we are honored to be a part of the Penny Appeal USA family. I'm honored to be a brand ambassador, and hopefully, trying to help shed light and help raise resources for young boys and girls all over the world who might not have an opportunity otherwise. And so, again, this is the month of Ramadan. Many of us will donate our Zakat donations during this month. I know a lot of people are waiting for the last 10 days. The last 10 days are coming up, y'all. It's starting on Tuesday, I believe. And so, again, just remember that at the end of the day, we're not going to take any of this money with us, and it's important for us to give back, especially for those of us who have been blessed. And again, I hope you'll sponsor our project at myorphanvillage.com, and also support Penny Appeal USA by going to the website at pausa.org.
Thank you so much, Aslan, and I'm happy it's a family affair. It's fantastic that your mom is with you.
She's a better fundraiser than I am, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't know. I have not met her, but I'm sure if she's a woman and she's powerful, she's convincing.
Yeah,
So well, thank you so much for all of your support over the years from the very beginning as a brand ambassador, and we look forward to continuing working with you. Like you said, you've raised over $250,000 for orphans, and that's just incredible. May Allah make it way heavy for you on the scale. Inshallah. Thank you. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am, so inspired by Arslan's words, and I'm inspired by what you can do out here just from your phone, just from your computer. You can change people's lives. You can give people access to healthcare that's really a fundamental human right. And you can do this so much easier than you could years ago, where people would unsure about where their money would go. No, this is so easy. You can just sign up, and it's simple, and you're going to be able to get reports that are transparent and clear about where your money is going. So I want to talk a little bit about why giving is important, and specifically a little bit of background into what I do around the country, raising money for charitable causes, but specifically for Penny Appeal USA. I've raised money everywhere for them, all over the United States. I can't imagine like a metropolitan city that we haven't gone to. And I've gotten really amazing feedback that I kind of want to share with you guys about how giving changes your life when you give. Of course, the most important reason that we're all here is to make sure to help others. And that's why Penny Peel USA is in existence. But while we're helping others, you know, the most beautiful and merciful thing about our Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is always looking out for you. First of all, you will never be decreased in your own wealth. You will only be increased in your wealth when you give. But secondly, when you do those things, when you do the good things in the way of Allah, and you make sincere and very clear intentional, reasoned giving, principled giving, and you ask Allah for something, you ask God for something that you really need and want, Allah will meet your need. And that has kind of been very inspiring for me. I've gone around the country and I've told this story, and I'll just say it briefly now and then tell you some of the feedback that I've gotten in my DMs from my Instagram, Yaz Guru. People are instantly DMing me about the changes that are happening in their life in real time. So this is pretty incredible. So I remember being a young student, not having a lot of money, showing up at a fundraiser with Imam Siraj Wahaj, and it was a room full of students. You know, there's probably tons of people out here who are themselves insecure about their job or about their future. You don't know, whether your next paycheck is going to make it, whether you're going to make your rent. And I just remember being really young, still a teenager, and going to school on a scholarship, and having this room full of people who were just like me, kind of unsure about what the future was going to look like, uncertain about whether we were ever going to get a job. And Siraj Wahaj said something amazing. He was raising money at the time for a terrible earthquake that happened in Pakistan. He said, I want you to give until it hurts a little bit, until you're broken. I was like, well, I'm broke. What does he mean by broken exactly? Like, I feel shattered over here, man. What does he mean? And he was saying that he wants us to give until our fear is broken, our ego is broken, the uncertainty is broken, right? That feeling of worry, the anxiety is broken, because he was telling us then that it was God's promise that we would be blessed in our life if we were to give. And even though it looked like your bank flow went a little bit low, God would replace it with something better. And he went around the room and he made sure everybody gave. And I want to make sure that everybody who's watching tonight gives something, even something small, by going to the button at the bottom of the screen. And he said, I want everyone to give $1,000. Now, I had never seen $1,000 in my life. And he got everybody in that room, including me. I was like one of the last hands to go up because I was so scared. I remember being like sweaty, just sweating, my face hot, because I didn't know how in the world I would actually bring forward $1,000 to give to anybody. And I took on a third job. I had already worked 2 jobs. I took on a third weekend job. And in a year and a half, I finished the $1,000 pledge that I made. And I remember making that last pledge and not knowing what grad school was going to look like. I had just lost this major scholarship called the Truman Scholarship. I was like a finalist for that, and I didn't get it. I thought, oh, how am I going to pay for grad school? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. How am I going to get a job? And I remember the last payment I made, a couple days later, I get a phone call, and I get a phone call from a university. My teacher had sent off one of my exams to the American University in Cairo. And they said, hey, you scored really high on this exam. Do you want to come and study Arabic and do graduate work in Arabic? And I thought, what is this? Is this really happening? And they said, yeah. And that, I believe, was a direct result of the blessing that I received. And it kept going. I would get a dream of Siraj Wahaj telling me to give until it hurt a little bit, to give until I was broken a little bit. And I would give. And I got a phone call when I was in Cairo, and an email saying, hey, we've been trying to contact you. You got a full ride to go to law school. And then I would get another dream of the same beautiful man, Imam Siraj Wahaj, all dressed in white, saying, give until you are broken a little bit. And I would give sadaqah. And God then blessed me with finding out that I got a full ride to go and do my master's in public policy at Princeton University. And I really believe that $1,000 donation that I made turned into an over $300,000 return. And I believe that's because when God says that he will bless you min haythu la yahtasib, like from a place that you don't know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking the truth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, because this is the month of the Qur'an, in Surah Ali Imran, in ayah 92, he says, لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. You will not achieve righteousness and closeness to me until you give of what you love. Until you give of what you love. And I remember I was telling these stories in different places, and a woman basically DM'd me on Instagram, and she said, hey, by the way, I was at your event. I just want you to know that, you know, I'm divorced. It was a really difficult divorce. My parents kind of really did not want me to do this, but I just pushed because it was the right thing. It was really abusive. And I just want you to know that I don't know what my next job is going to be. I don't know what my future is going to look like. I just want a chance at love. I just want to be married again. And I know there's so much stigma around people who are divorced, especially divorced women in our community. And my parents, I think that's why they really were opposed to the divorce. But I want you to know that I gave tonight, and it was very difficult for me to give, but I gave, and I made very sincere dua because you made that dua. And I relate a story when I was in the same situation as her. I made dua, and God brought me my current husband, who I'm very grateful for. So let me tell you what happened to this woman. She comes to another show a year later. She actually comes in person, and she grabs my arm and she said, I'm the one who DM'd you. I just want you to know that not only did I get married, I got married in Mecca. I got married. I did my Katbi Kitab in front of the Kaaba, and she sent me photos afterwards. And it was so amazing to me because it reminded me of this ayah from Surah Al-Imran. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. Because Allah had drawn this woman so close to him that he brought her to his house. You know? He brought her to his home in order to get married, in order to find her blessing. And I hope that you too can share in the blessing tonight. I'm going to show a video now that, you know, shows in person for you, all of you who are watching, where your money is going for this Heal Humanity campaign.
Disease around the world. You'll find in these uncertain times, our goal at Penny Appeal USA is simple: to help heal humanity. We believe that no one should go without proper care, and we are working hard to save lives from sickness and disease around the world. You'll find us in the wake of an emergency, responding to a pandemic that comes without notice and wreaks havoc on everyone in its path. You'll find us in refugee camps where families have been forgotten, and in remote parts of the world where people seek a better life. Penny Appeal USA is committed to working with you to transform communities by making healthcare accessible to everyone. That's why today we're in Syria sanitizing refugee camps and providing hygiene training to help protect the most vulnerable from COVID-19. It's why we're in Bangladesh running health clinics that have treated tens of thousands of Rohingya refugees. It's why we're in Somalia and Sudan, where we've built clinics and are sending life-saving medical supplies so that patients don't have to travel long and perilous journeys for treatment. It's why we're in Palestine, supporting the only neonatal unit in the country, caring for prematurely born babies and giving them a chance at life they never would have had. It's why we need your support now more than ever, so that together we can give more people that chance at life that they wouldn't have had without you. And what a gift to give this Ramadan. Our world may look different today, but our mission has not changed. Wherever there is pain, we aim to comfort. Wherever there is loss, we aim to rebuild. Wherever humanity is hurting, we aim to heal. Join us in healing humanity this Ramadan.
It's a beautiful video and a very important message to show you exactly where your dollars are going. And these are the different price points that we have here. We have at the very highest price point at $12,000, which is about $1,000 a month. You will allow these hospitals to have life-saving medical equipment. You saw the incubators, for example, that are required for these beautiful tiny babies in the neonatal unit at the Maqasid Hospital in Palestine, and important things like ventilators and other life-saving medical equipment for just $1,000 a month. And this is really for someone who has the ability. Maybe you need to pay your zakat. This is the perfect way to pay your zakat at $1,000 a month, or at $500 a month, which is $6,000 for the year, for patient monitors, important patient monitors, to make sure that hospital staff know when people need a life-saving intervention. And then if you cannot make that type of donation, even $100 a month, which is like your cable bill basically for, you know, your triple play for Verizon, $1,200 for the year for surgical supplies. And, you know, for these bigger numbers, even if you can divide it amongst your children, for example, in your household, and each one of them has to fundraise, you know, and help, then that's something that you can do as a sadaqah, even as a family. But at $1,200, you will provide very life-saving and important surgical supplies to make sure that people can have interventions to save their lives. $600 at just $50 a month, you can offer people important medicines to keep them safe and healthy, even if they make it to a hospital, let's say in Burundi or Somalia or Palestine, you know, and it's very difficult to get to the hospital, right? Imagine the checkpoints and the villages that you have to travel to and the lack of access to water. Even if you make it there, perhaps you can't purchase your medication. Well, for $600 for the year, just $50 a month, you can help someone get the medication that they need to survive the next day. And then at $360 for the PPE that we were talked about, that will support hospitals in Pakistan and Bangladesh and Palestine, Mozambique, Syria, all the, you know, the important places that need it most, also in the United States, like we said, in New Orleans, Chicago, New York, at just $360 to $30 a month, just $30 a month. And you can really make sure that the people who are on the front line, these frontline workers, have the protection that they so desperately need. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Qur'an, in Surah An-Nisa, in Ayah 85, Surah An-Nisa is chapter 4, مَنْ يَشْفَعْ شَفَاعَةً حَسَنًا يَكُونَ لَهُ نَصِيبًا مِنْهَا. The person who intercedes in the important and good work, they will have a reward from it. So that means that every single bit of, every penny, every bit of money that you give, and it helps protect somebody's life, and they do good in their life, you will have that reward as well. In that life-saving intervention, you will have intervention in your own life. You know, I'll tell you just a couple more amazing stories. There was a woman who was out of work. Her husband was out of work, and they were out of work for months. And she was inspired by a story that I told about having to even sell some of my own items so that I could give sadaqah, so I could give charity and ask Allah in a very principled, intentional way of what I needed, what I so desperately needed, which was a job. I needed a job. And this woman did the same thing, and she DM'd me and she said, I want you to know that 2 weeks after I gave, just 2 weeks after I gave, I got a job that gave me double the salary that I had previously, because I gave when it was very difficult for me to give. And my husband was so inspired by the fact that this happened that he also gave at that moment, and that he was also given a job, a very important job, after having been out of work, unemployed for months. And this reminds me of the Qur'an. In Surah Al Imran, we have the story of Zakaria and Maryam alayhi salam. She has fruits and beautiful blessings from Allah that are out of season. And when Zakaria sees this, he falls to the floor, begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a child out of season, because he was of advanced age, his wife was of advanced age, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he answered his call and he gave him what he needed most. He gave him Yahya, he gave him his beautiful son, Yahya alayhi salam. And the truth is, you guys, that we are living in such tremendous blessing. If you're watching this and you've got internet and you're watching this, you're already ahead of the game. You're already in the top 1% of the entire world population. So please give back. You will be asked about this na'im, about this blessing that you're in. The blessing that you're in doesn't just come for free. It doesn't. It will be a test for you. It will be a test for you, and it will be something that will testify either for you or against you. So help your wealth be purified and to testify for you on the day where there will be no shade except Allah. We know in Surah Al-Takathur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. Check out the emphatic nature of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. ثم لا. The la here of tawkeed, to make sure. ثم, oh verily, indeed, verily, indeed, double emphasis, you will be asked about the blessing that you're in. Because you just want to accumulate wealth. That's the nature of human beings. And if you see anything in our pop culture today, that's exactly how it is. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire. You want more billions. It's insane. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in Surah Takathur that that is not the point of life and that we can't take anything with us into the grave. Just remember that there will only be 3 things that will provide for us any type of continual blessing after we pass. 1, the beautiful dua, the prayer of a child or someone that we help mentor if we cannot be blessed with children. 2, beneficial knowledge that you leave. And finally, 3, sadaqah jariyah, charity that is continuously giving. I hope that you can find it in your heart to give even something small just by hitting the donate today button, the green button at the bottom of your screen, pausa.org/heal. I want everyone who's watching the Crowdcast to give something, even if it's small. It is not insignificant. It is not insignificant. If you have one tiny piece of bread and you split that bread in half and you give it to somebody, that weighs heavier than if you were sitting on a mountain of food and you only gave a crumb to someone. Just remember that. So if you are struggling today and you don't know and you have so much uncertainty, as we all do, we don't have a lot of job security or health security. We don't know if we're going to get sick tomorrow with COVID-19, right? If you're in this country, you don't know. You could go to the grocery store and you could come back sick. I want you to just remember to seize the moment right now to break the fear and to break the uncertainty and to ask for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, because this month is one of mercy and of beauty. So please capitalize on that opportunity. I now, want to shift gears a little bit, because I know that you probably are sick of hearing me talk so much about donating, but I really am inspired by people, and it's incredible. I get DM'd all the time by people who are, they didn't get into the medical school that they wanted, but then they gave, and then they got into the top choice medical school. I mean, insane things, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He can bless you in ways that you can't even imagine today. And I want to shift gears now to talk about our next wonderful speaker, Ustadh Abdelrahman Murphy, an important thinker and scholar of our time, someone who will, inshallah, inspire you to think about what your service is to the people around you. So I want you to join me in please welcoming Ustadh Abdelrahman Murphy. And thank you so much for those who gave. And you can easily do that at pausa.org/heal. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us and for giving us some of your precious time before breaking your fast.
No worries. I've been listening to you for the last 20 minutes, and honestly, I would rather just go ahead and concede my time to you, to be honest.
No, man. Come on.
Very inspiring, mashallah. I was thinking, I was just calculating my zakat to see how much I'm going to give. May
Allah bless you and give you, inshallah, more than you can imagine today. More than you can in your wildest imagination.
Ameen, ya Rab. Ameen.
We're so excited to hear from you, Ustadh, and you're a fellow Southerner. You're from Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Chicago. So I can't. But my wife, my wife is from Memphis, so we lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. So I did fall deeply in love with biscuits and gravy and halal biscuits and gravy and
Little Debbie, all kosher. It's all kosher.
Yeah. And sweet tea is in my veins now at this point. So but everything sounds good when you're fasting all day. Alhamdulillah.
That's so true. Alhamdulillah. Well, we're excited to hear from you to hopefully inspire us to think about how we are serving humanity and hopefully healing humanity together.
Inshallah. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. I know that there is an inundation of online programming and opportunities, and there is such a thing as, opportunity fatigue or information fatigue. And so it's important for us to be able to recognize the value of this moment that we're in right now. That this is not something that's like anything else. It's not like watching other videos. It's not like reading other, Instagram posts or engaging online in any other way. This is an intentional gathering in which all of us individually are surrounded by malaika. because the Hadith tells us that when people gather together to remember Allah, that the angels surround those people. And so we are gathered to remember Allah, and we're all remote, but the angels can come and surround each of us individually. There's a lot of angels. Allah Ta'ala created many of them, and they can gather around us and they report to Allah Ta'ala who we are. And so you think you're alone, but you're not alone. You think that you're alone, but you're being the good news of what you're doing is being reported back to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and Allah Ta'ala is so proud of you, and he's asking the angels, about you, and even though he knows all about you, but he's asking because he wants to hear more about how dedicated you are as a believer in doing the things that we learn from our faith, in serving humanity and taking care of people. So this is a really, really important and beautiful moment that we're in, and I'm so honored to be here. I wanted to tell one story, and I really meant it. Yasmin, mashallah, her story is so powerful. I was just like sitting here, and I was like, oh wait, I have to be on this thing. There's one individual that in the life of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that I think is just so amazing. He's so profound, and he makes me really, subhanAllah, inspired. Obviously the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, of course, you read his story and you're inspired. And you connect with him on a very emotional level. But the companions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ also had their own special moments of inspiration. And the companion that I'm speaking about is, of course, none other than Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Abu Bakr Siddiq is somebody who, every time you read a story about him, it's nothing more than inspiring. He was somebody who lived Islam to the T, and was somebody who was able to take any moment and just do the right thing in that moment, transform that moment into something so special for his faith. And a lot of people don't know, but as-Siddiq is actually not part of his name. As-Siddiq, if you look in the books of Sirah, there's a specific moment when he earned this title, as-Siddiq. As-Siddiq means the one who is abundantly truthful. The one who is abundantly truthful. And we'll talk a little bit about this, inshallah, when we get to this point in the story. But the story in which he received this name is the, of course, miraculous journey in which the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ took on this journey by Allah Ta'ala via Angel Jibreel and the horse-like creature Al-Buraq from Masjid al-Haram ila al-Masjid al-Aqsa to Jerusalem, from Mecca to Jerusalem. And then he ascended the heavens and experienced incredible divine things in the heavens up until when he was able to meet Allah Azza wa Jal in whatever way that happened, right? So this is like an amazing story. It's an incredible story. It's called Al-Isra al-Ma'raj. If you get a chance, inshallah, if you're interested, I know we just finished with Al-Isra if you're going juz by juz in the Qur'an recitations that we're doing, many people doing across the country online. But if you have a chance to read this story, it's really powerful. And especially when we're talking about difficult times, because when did this story happen? When did this moment happen? When did Allah call the Prophet ﷺ to him? It happened during what was known as Am al-Huzn, the year of sadness and grief. The year of grief, when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was stricken with grief because he lost his wife, Khadija radiallahu anha. He lost, our mother, Khadija, the one who was like his rock, his mainstay. Somebody who he never forgot her for the rest of his life. Whenever her name was mentioned, tears would well up in his eyes. Whenever he saw something that belonged to her, like a necklace, he would start to become emotional because of what she meant to him. When he spoke about her, he said, she believed in me when no one would believe me. So Khadija radiallahu anha, she passes away. Imagine that pillar of his life being gone now. And then his uncle Abu Talib also passes away, who was also like his foster father. So Allah Ta'ala gives the Prophet ﷺ this beautiful gift of Al-Isra al-Ma'raj after he experiences the loss of his family and then the Muslim boycott, in which the Meccans did not sell food, did not give anything. They actually even would outcast anybody who showed any sympathy. Anybody who showed any sympathy at all to the Muslims, they would outcast them completely. So what was there to do? It was like destruction, day in, day out. It was so difficult. I mean, you think quarantine is hard, right? You think staying at home is difficult, right? And it is challenging at times, especially when you got some kiddos. But think of this boycott and what they were going through, subhanAllah. So Allah Ta'ala calls the Prophet ﷺ, gives him this amazing gift to reinforce his faith, to give him this strength, to give him this rejuvenation that he needs. and to give him the prayer. This is when the Prophet ﷺ received the ordainment for the 5 daily prayers. Now, where does Abu Bakr as-Siddiq come into this whole situation? No, he didn't go with him. He wasn't there, right? Even though he was with him a lot of times, he wasn't there. This was a specific journey for the Prophet ﷺ alone. But where does Abu Bakr as-Siddiq come in? Well, when the Prophet ﷺ returns, this journey happened in one night. And now you and I we're very used to that being a reality because of airplanes and, vehicles and the travel, the kind of travel that we do. We could imagine going from Mecca to Jerusalem in one night, of course, easily. But now I want you to rewind, 1400 plus years. And I want you to be able to think about, okay, well, that was a long time ago. There was no mechanism or vehicle of journeying like that. It was just, on foot and on animals. So it would have taken weeks, if not months, for the Prophet ﷺ to make it, if not, a long time to Jerusalem and then back. Like, how would he even have the supplies? So quite frankly, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was something that was truly unbelievable, right? And it was only possible by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Prophet ﷺ, he gets back after this amazing journey. And he arrives back, and then the narration says he got back just before like the Fajr time, like just in the early morning. And he's in Mecca, and who does he bump into other than Abu Jahl himself? Abu Jahl is like, the king of all of these horrible people who are trying to hurt the Prophet ﷺ and kill him and make his life so difficult, and they're trying to get people to disbelieve in him and not accept him. So Abu Jahl notices that there's something very powerful about the presence of the Prophet ﷺ this morning, that there's something very illuminated about his presence. He just looks different. He's got a little pep in his step, and he's got some light on his face. And obviously the Prophet ﷺ was the most beautiful person in history, but there was something different, right? He had just come back from the heavens. Obviously he's excited. And so he asks him, he says, why do you look like the way you're looking? Why do you look like this? And the Prophet ﷺ, he tells him, he says, God called me, and I went and I journeyed back from Mecca to Jerusalem, and I went and I met all of the prophets, and I led them in prayer in Masjid al-Aqsa, and then I visited and I ascended the heavens and visited all the prophets on the way and visited God, and then I came back and I went and I came back from Jerusalem to Mecca, and now I'm here. It happened in one night. And he said it such so matter of fact, and Abu Jahl just looks at him and starts laughing. And he just starts saying, oh, really? Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. Right? Because Abu Jahl is like the opposite of faith, right? Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab, these individuals, they're like the diametric opposite of faith. They can't even entertain the idea that something this miraculous could happen, because their arrogance is just taking up all the room in their heart. Right? May Allah Ta'ala protect us from that. So what happens now? Abu Jahl is like, dude, this is it. This is my chance. He's like, it's like the Republican or Democratic Party when they find out something about each other. They're like, now we have to capitalize now. So Abu Jahl is like, now this is my chance. What's his chance? He says, I have to gather everybody so they can hear this story firsthand. I want them to hear this story firsthand. Like, I want them to hear it from the Prophet or from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Obviously, he wouldn't say that, but we say sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. He gathers people and he asks him, and he says, hey, everybody, did you hear? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that he visited Jerusalem last night. And he says that he visited Jerusalem and he came back. Can you guys believe it? And he's saying it like with that mocking tone. And everybody is like, what? Are you serious? And people are laughing and they're joking and they're like, oh, this is it. This is it. And even some of the newly converted individuals who accepted Islam very recently, even they were struggling. Even this was so miraculous for them that they were struggling. So the people, they thought it was a good chance to mock the Prophet. So they said, hey, why don't you keep telling us what was it like? What was it all about? And so the Prophet tells them, right? And subhanAllah, there's one person in that gathering out of everybody there who's mocking, who's jeering, who's, laughing, who's making this a joke. There's one person sitting right in front of the Prophet and right in front of him. And the entire time, what's he doing? He has the most loving, respectful face. He's gazing upon the Prophet ﷺ, careful not to miss a single word. And the Prophet ﷺ, every time he describes something different that was miraculous, every time he says, you know, I saw Jibreel, and then I got onto the Buraq, and every step the Buraq took, it reached the next horizon. And then I got to Al-Quds, and I got off the Buraq, and I went to the Masjid al-Aqsa, and I led all the prophets in prayer, and I saw Ibrahim alayhi salam, and I saw Musa, and I saw Isa, and every time he's narrating this unbelievable, incredible thing that happened to him, what does Abu Bakr say? Abu Bakr says, Saddaqta ya Rasulullah. Saddaqta ya Rasulullah. He says, you told the truth, O Messenger of Allah. You've told the truth, O Messenger of Allah. Every single time. So I want you to imagine, like, whenever everyone starts laughing, so the Prophet ﷺ says, I met the Prophet, and people start saying, well, whatever. You know, you hear the members in the crowd. Loudly, you hear Abu Bakr say what? Saddaqta ya Rasulullah. Saddaqta ya Rasulullah. You've told the truth. So finally, after like the 5th or 6th time that Abu Bakr says this, and he's doing it because he believes, and he's doing it on purpose to give the Prophet ﷺ that thabat. The Prophet ﷺ stops and he looks at Abu Bakr and he says, Ya Abu Bakr, anta Siddiq. Anta as-Siddiq. Right? You keep telling me that I'm telling the truth. I'm telling you that you are the truthful one. You are the truthful one. What does he mean by that? What does it mean to be truthful? Well, what it means is that you confirm what you claim. To be truthful means that whatever you say, you mean it. You confirm it. So Abu Bakr, he claimed, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, which is also what some of the other people there, the Muslims, claimed. But the ones who doubted the Prophet ﷺ as a result of this journey, what was the second part? Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. That I believe that there is nothing worthy of worship except for God, and that Muhammad is his messenger. He says, Abu Bakr, you're the only one here that is so firmly confirming that statement that you took. You're not wavering for even a moment. And that's how he received the title As-Siddiq. Now, what does this have to do with our purpose here tonight? We're not here to talk about confirming faith, or are we? Or are we? Because interestingly, when you look at the word sadaqah, and sadaqah, the two words, right? Sadaqah, the verb, and sadaqah, the noun. The verb, sadaqah, means to confirm something, to tell the truth, right? Sidq is truthfulness. As-Siddiq is the one who is truthful, has confirmed. And sadaqah is charity. Sadaqah is charity. But the Arabs were very interesting linguists. Whenever something shared a root word, there was a relationship between the concepts. Whenever two things that were very different shared a root word in between them, that meant that there was a relationship between the two different things. I'll give you an example. Rahma means mercy. Rahma means mercy. Rahim means womb. Rahim means the womb of a mother. Rahim. What's the relationship between mercy and the womb of a mother? Well, the Arabic linguists would write in their dictionaries and say, because the womb of a mother is one of the most powerful manifestations of mercy in the world. It's one of the ways in which Allah Ta'ala shows us mercy is how a child grows in the womb of its mother, right? So those two things, mercy and womb, very different in their meanings, but they have a relationship. So what's the relationship between being truthful and giving sadaqah? I'll tell you. Abu Bakr Siddiq was the person who confirmed the Prophet ﷺ's incredible, unbelievable story. And he was also the one who gave the most charity. He was the one who proved that he believed in whatever the Prophet ﷺ said, and no one could outgive him in charity. No one could outdo him. What's the relationship? If you and I want to have that faith, want to taste what Abu Bakr tasted, want to be able to wake up and not have anything rattle our hearts, nothing, no waves can crash upon us that will test our belief and certainty in Allah. We want to be like Abu Bakr. We want to be able to say, Saddaqta ya Rasulullah. You read a hadith, you learn something about the Prophet ﷺ, and you say how beautiful that is. The Prophet ﷺ was true. Sadaqa Rasulullah. He was true. He was true. He truly was a prophet. You want to have that conviction that everyone is looking for. In an age of chaos and confusion, Conviction is gold. Everyone wants it. We're all searching for it. What's one of the quickest ways to prove to Allah that you believe and to build that conviction? It's interesting. Give sadaqah. Give your charity. Why? And this is part of the reason why I loved all the stories that Yasmin was sharing, because only in giving charity will you ever be able to experience that kind of promise of Allah being fulfilled. There are certain moments that Allah Ta'ala has promised us things. And some of those moments you cannot get except by when you give. You cannot get that. When the Prophet ﷺ says, مَا نَقَصَ مِنَ الْمَالِ الصَّدَقَةِ, that charity will never diminish your wealth. Charity will never diminish your wealth. Meaning that what? For as long as you live, if you give charity, you will never look back on that charity and say, you know what? I really wish I didn't give that. I would have been in a way better financial situation had I not given that. The hadith is saying you will never ever see that. In fact, the person who gives sadaqah, we learn, their wealth is multiplied. There is so much barakah that is injected into their wealth that their wealth is multiplied. It doesn't necessarily mean, by the way, that you're all of a sudden going to find the IRS makes a mistake and instead of getting 1,200, you get, 12,000 or 120,000. That's not necessarily it. But what it also means when a person gets barakah in their wealth is that a little bit goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way. So you give some sadaqah today, you give some charity today, and maybe you don't get a new job that doubles your wealth. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. Alhamdulillah. However Allah wants it to happen, it'll happen. Maybe you don't get that. But you know what else Allah Ta'ala will do? Allah Ta'ala will also prevent a calamity from happening in your life that would have cost you a lot of money. He would have prevented it. He could have prevented it. And if a person gives sadaqah, it's one of the practices of our pious predecessors that they would say, give charity, because charity, it cleans away the calamities in a person's life. It takes away some of those tests and trials that will cost them, that will take a lot of their time and resources and wealth. It'll preserve that. So Allah Ta'ala is giving you barakah in your wealth by that way. But I want to return back and finish on a very important point, is that many of us are looking for this certainty in this relationship with Allah. And we are here, subhanAllah, on the night before the 17th of Ramadan. You know what happened on the 17th of Ramadan? The Battle of Badr. And what was the Battle of Badr? The Battle of Badr was where the Muslims learned La ilaha illallah. Because they were outnumbered 1-3, 1,000, over 1,000 plus 313 versus 313. They were outnumbered 1-3. They had no armor. They had no weapons, right? And they weren't prepared. They weren't fit to go and fight in a battle. Meanwhile, you have the Quraysh who are coming from Mecca with over 1,000 people, with all these animals and all these weapons and all this armor. They're ready to go. They're ready to throw down. And the Prophet ﷺ, as they stand there and they line up, opposite of one another on the battlefield, he raises his hands to the sky and says, "Oh Allah, answer your promise. Oh Allah, give me your promise. You promised me that if we trusted and if we did this, that you would never let us be defeated. Oh Allah, if you don't answer your promise to me, Ya Allah, no one on earth will worship you. Oh Allah, I need you to answer your promise to me." This is a moment for us to pledge to Allah and to ask Allah, "Oh Allah, answer your promise to me." Just like Sister Yasmin is saying, everyone here in this gathering tonight, we have something. There's something internally that we're battling with or for or against. And this Ramadan is helping us, but we need something to put on the table. We need a chip to put down to show Allah that we're real, that we mean it. Oh Allah, I'm not just sitting here asking you, because it's a ritual, because it's habit. Oh Allah, let me just sacrifice something for you. Let me give something up for you. What can I give more than the wealth that I love? وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. That you love wealth. Allah Ta'ala says you love wealth. You love it so much. It's it's ajib that you love it this much. So what happens when a person pulls out their credit card and goes and signs up and says, I'm going to give 100, I'm going to give 500, I'm going to give $1,000 a month? What happens in that moment? What kind of transformation happens? You just get a little bit closer to being amongst the Siddiqeen, those people who are truthful, because you remembered the promise of Allah, that Allah Ta'ala would never, ever diminish your wealth. And that if you could prove that you loved Allah more than you love everything else, that you love Allah more than you love yourself, you love Allah more than you love shopping, more than you love getting, more than you love being paid, more than you love logging into your bank account and seeing those dollar signs. Oh Allah, I love those things. I'm a human being and you know I love those things, oh Allah, but I love you more. And I want to prove, oh Allah, that I love you more. I want to prove it to you. It's not enough for me just to say it anymore. I want to show you. I don't want to just tell you anymore. I want to show you that I love you, Allah. Oh Allah, let me show you by taking وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, by taking what you've given me and let me give it back. This is what Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was. This is who he was. This is why when the Prophet ﷺ asked, who has any money to give? Who can donate? Umar bin Khattab showed up with half of his wealth. Half. He showed up with half of his wealth. He said, Ya Rasulullah, this is for Islam. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq showed up with all of it.
Oh.
And that narration, the end of that narration, subhanAllah, Umar, you know what he says? He says to Abu Bakr, he says, we can't keep up with you, man. He just says, he's got tears in his eyes. He's like, we just can't keep up with you. You're like unbeatable. He's so astounded by the faith of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq.
Allah.
How can we get there? What's a shortcut that we can take to feel that sweetness, that ladha that we want? We all want to taste that faith, right? We all want to like be there and say, man, this Islam is so beautiful. It feels so good. I'm so happy to be a Muslim. I'm telling you, everybody, if we look in the message of the Qur'an, we look in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the quickest ways to get there is by sacrifice. And there is no such thing as more sacrifice than when times are tough. فِي الصَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ, in good times and in bad times. Times are tough. A lot of people don't know. I'm sitting here across the street from American Airlines headquarters. A lot of people there don't know what their income is going to look like in 2 months, 1 month, right? But this is the time that we prove to Allah, hey Allah, I'm here. Ya Allah, I'm here. And I want to show you, Allah, I'm not more invested in here than I am in the akhirah. So I ask, and I'm going to do it too, inshallah, because I can't say all this, I can't say all this and not do it. I'm going to, inshallah, pledge as well. My wife and I are here. I'm going to go ahead and talk to her, and we're going to put something down, inshallah. We're going to sign up. I also know Osama, mashallah. I know the team here, mashallah, and I believe in the work that Penny Peel does. And I'm going to do this, but I want everybody, just like Yasmin said, mashallah. That's one of my favorite lines that I love using on people. No one's leaving here tonight except they give something. No one's leaving except for they give something.
You know,
I hope, Ya Rab, and I hope, inshallah. So we ask Allah Ta'ala to make us amongst those people, that we give sadaqah, that we give charity, and that we confirm this statement, that we prove it, right? So my challenge to you tonight, everyone, is prove it, right? Prove it tonight, inshallah. We ask Allah Ta'ala to accept. I'm sorry for going over time. Barakallah.
There's nothing to apologize for. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate you and fortify you, protect you from all evil, lift the calamities from your path, increase you in knowledge.
Allah accept, inshallah. Allah accept. And this is really important work. You see, everyone who's watching, you see how much it means to people. I even heard in Arsalan, I know Arsalan, by the way, his brother and I go way back. Arsalan, I even heard in his voice, just like, it was almost like he did say, like, these people are his family. The people who have lost their mothers and fathers, the ones that Allah Ta'ala he's elevated their status as orphans.
Yeah.
He said, like, they're my family, right? And you see, mashallah, your investment, and you see, so this is an organization, and this is work, and this is something worthy of people supporting. And I hope and pray everyone watching, inshallah, you guys go to pausa.org/heal and help heal. Khairun nas min yanfa'un nas. You want to be from the best of people? Let's heal people. Let's try to help heal people, inshallah.
Benefit people, and we take great benefit from your words. Murphy, we thank you, inshallah, and we wish you a blessed rest of your month.
Ameen.
Thank you so much.
Take care, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
I mean, there's nothing to follow up. There's nothing to really say. I have lived the words that he stated, but only in an attempt to be like those who came before us, only in an attempt to reach for the greatness and the truth the truth of your faith can only happen when you give, and especially when you give in difficulty. So let us really heed his words and be of the Siddiqeen, and to have sidq, to have truth in our sadaqah. It's very beautiful, the words that he said. We're going to end the night. I'm sorry that I'm falling apart. I'm not supposed to cry like this. That's not a part of the program. But I was just so incredibly moved by what he's saying. And I've seen people really attain that bitter, that righteousness, the goodness by giving. And I want you all to join in that today, even if it's something small. I hope that you can join and really benefit from putting your faith in action. This is what it's about. It's about putting your faith in action, putting your money where your mouth is. We're going to end the night tuning into the wonderful, beautiful voice of Faisal Latif, who will be doing some nasheed, inshallah, and a spoken word piece. And that'll end our night. Please donate below. So simple, pausa.org/heal. May you have a blessed rest of your night. Let's put Faisal back on. Help me in welcoming him to brighten our spirits with a remembrance. Whenever he's ready. Inshallah, he'll be on soon. In the meantime, I will just say that really try to spend, hopefully, this month in remembering the people that came before us. It's the stories of the giants, the titans that came before us, the people that we're standing on their shoulders, that will soften your heart. And my hope is that the words of Ustadh Abdelrahman Murphy have softened your heart to understand who came before you, the beauty, that ride or die. Abu Bakr Siddiq, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, is a ride or die friend. He is the companion that you want in your corner. So let us emulate him. Let us be that way. Let us be like that. Faisal, please take it away.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
I just want to begin by thanking you and Ustadh Abdelrahman Murphy. It was my first time listening to both of you speak, and may Allah increase you both. May Allah protect you both and accept all that you guys do and try to convey to everyone. Ameen. The verse that you stated, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ, and then Abdurrahman Murphy with his having sidq in sadaqah. Man, jazakallahu khairan, jazakumullahu khairan. It reminds me of one of my favorite hadith, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Yawm al-Qiyamah will say, أَيْنَ الْمُتَحَابُونَ بِجَلَالِي. Where are those who loved each other in this dunya for no other reason besides my sake? And when you give, that's what you're doing. Because as you guys, a realization that really came across to me in this past hour was, sadaqah isn't giving when you're comfortable. It's when you're not comfortable.
Yes.
That's where it's truly sadaqah.
Yeah.
And we're here right now.
Of the faith, like he said, that's testing the la ilaha illallah.
Yeah. And we're here right now. For everyone who's part of this gala right now, we're here because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to attain his shade on that day. Yes. Because he will say, أَيْنَ الْمُتَحَابُونَ بِجَلَالِي, where are those who loved each other for my sake? Because on this day, I want to give you my shade when there is no other shade but my shade. And we are here, and we have been given this opportunity because Allah wants us to attain that shade. Yes. Out of his love and mercy.
May you share in that shade, Faisal, for you and your family and all your loved ones and your parents and all of the generations that come after you, inshallah, until Yawm al-Din, until the end.
Likewise. Ameen. All right, Bismillah. So I'm going to sing, inshallah, a nasheed of mine and end with some poetry as we're getting close to that iftar time, you know what I'm saying? So, Bismillah. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. This one is called Endless Confusion, and you can find it on my YouTube channel. Bismillah. Endless confusion plays on my mind. I know all my wrongs, but I can't turn them right. Endless confusion place on my mind. Oh Allah, please guide this broken heart of mine. I see all your signs, but I turn a blind eye, spiraling down in the spiritual decline. Oh Allah, oh Allah, Allah, Allah. Oh Allah, 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 Ilahi. What would you say to your Lord about why you went astray? What would you say to your Lord about all them wasted days? What would you say to your Lord? So few of those days you prayed. He's always waiting for us, but we refuse to be saved. So busy drowning in sin. So many truths we've betrayed. So many people we've hurt. Never thinking about the day, that day of recompense, when our deeds are weighed. Ya Wajid, please never ever let me stray. Ya Majid, bring me under your mercy shade. Oh, your mercy shade. Endless confusion plays on my mind. I know all my wrongs, but I can't turn them right. Endless confusion plays on my mind. Oh Allah, please guide this broken heart of mine. I see all your signs, but I turn a blind eye, spiraling down in the spiritual decline. Oh Allah, oh Allah, Allah, Allah. Oh Allah, 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 Ilahi. Jazakallahu khairan. That is called Endless Confusion, and that is on my YouTube channel, inshallah. The thing that I'm going to end with, inshallah, is a spoken word piece, a bit of poetry, and it's called Intent. This is a conversation that I have with myself often, and I think it kind of just derived from that conversation that takes place between me and myself quite often. The inspiration for it was the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that says, among the people who will be first tossed into Jahannam will be the reciter, will be the one who seeked knowledge, for the sake of people saying, "Oh, mashallah, he's so knowledgeable." That's in short from among the people who will be tossed into the fire first. And being a student of knowledge and being somebody who recites often publicly, it's something that worries me a lot, you know. So this piece was written off that as the inspiration, and it's called Intent. Bismillah. It goes like this. What am I doing this for? Is it my Lord that I seek? Is it the pleasure of people focused on a temporary feat? Is my mind in the right place, heartbeat after heartbeat? Have I wasted too many minutes? Is my clock aimlessly on repeat? See, I fear showing up on that day, having lived my own deceit, being among those who are destined, having deeds only worthy of the heat. What am I doing this for? Is it my Lord that I seek? Do I steal from my actions? Am I my own thief? Will I be from the rewarded or a means of my own defeat? If this is my reality, to miss out on your divinity, then I beg you now, my Lord, take this fame away from me. 'Cause see, I'm a superficial slave. I only remember you when I struggle, when the world's got me down and I'm feeling hurtful. Don't care at all of how neglectful my heart has become, superficial. See, I opened 2 gifts this morning. They were my eyes. You had mercy on me, so now I realize you returned my soul this morning, even though my heart hasn't been alive. You gave me another chance, and now I fantasize of being close to you for eternity and beholding you with these very eyes. But see, the struggle is real. Consciousness surreal. My Lord, I know you know how I feel. Please don't ever let this heart be sealed or blind to my madness. You know what I conceal. Please keep me hidden, my sins unrevealed. Teach me sincerity from my deeds. I don't want to steal. To you, your mercy, love, and guidance do I kneel. In humbling myself to you, only then can I heal. What is your intent? Jazakallahu khairan. And that is the final piece for the evening. Jazakumullahu khairan, everyone, for listening and for joining. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts from us. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts everyone's fasting, your dua, your zakat, your charity, your sujood, your qiyam, your everything that you may do in this life, in this Ramadan, that is good. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes this Ramadan the best Ramadan of your life. Ameen. Ameen.
Ameen. And may we all have the blessing to see another one and to use our time wisely now that we have been given the blessing. So barakallahu feek, Faisal, and we'll continue to illuminate your path, inshallah, and increase you and to protect you.
Take it easy, inshallah.
Oh, you too, buddy. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. It's been a really powerful night for me personally. I didn't expect to really have this heart shift, but I feel like I had a heart shift today. And I want you to know that every single one of you matter, and every cent that you give is an attempt for you to weigh heavily on the scales on your last day, inshallah, on earth, and on the last day when all humanity and all time will stop. So every single one of you matter. Every single bit of donation that you give matters, and my hope is that it will weigh heavy for you. Thank you guys for joining. Tomorrow we'll be with Imam Khalid Latif on the Pacific coast, so we'll be on Pacific time. Make sure that you donate. Just write down here with the pausa.org/heal. I'm almost at a loss for words, and that's hard for someone like me. I like talking. But really, there's nothing else to say. Happy Ramadan, guys. I hope you break your fast deliciously today, but also to increase your iman and to increase your steadfastness and your certainty, the conviction that Ustadh Abdelrahman Murphy talked about. I hope that you're only increasing your conviction today. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Good night.